good evening, and welcome to WNBA Trending. I'm your host, Ava, and tonight we turn our attention to one of the hottest topics in women's basketball, Caitlin Clark and her eligibility for the WNBA playoffs. As the Indiana Fever continue their journey in the league, fans everywhere are asking one big question. If the team makes the postseason, can Caitlin Clark actually play? Surprisingly, the answer might not be as straightforward as it seems. Even if Clark is perfectly healthy, there are league rules and technicalities that could impact whether she takes the court during playoff time. Let's break it all down. Caitlin Clark has been one of the most electrifying players to enter professional basketball in recent years. After an iconic college career at Iowa, where she shattered records and captivated audiences nationwide, her arrival in the WNBA instantly transformed the Indiana Fever into must-watch television. Whether it's her long-distance three-pointers, her flashy passing, or her leadership on the floor, Clark has brought a level of excitement that the league hasn't seen in years. But while her talent and star power are undeniable, the question of postseason eligibility is one that confuses many fans. How could a player of Clark's caliber possibly be sidelined, not because of an injury or suspension, but because of the rules? The explanation lies in how the WNBA governs roster moves, contract timelines, and player availability. To understand the situation, let's start with the structure of the WNBA season. The regular season typically runs from May to September, followed immediately by the playoffs. Teams that finish among the top 8 in the standings, based on overall record, qualify for postseason play. For rookies like Caitlin Clark, drafted straight out of college, their contracts with their respective teams begin in year one of their professional careers, which includes both the regular season and playoffs. So, where's the issue? On the surface, it sounds like Clark should automatically be eligible. But here's the twist. WNBA rules require that players be on the active roster by certain cutoff dates in order to participate in the postseason. If, for any reason, a player is placed on an inactive list, suspended list, or leaves the team due to other obligations, her postseason eligibility can be impacted. For Caitlin Clark, the concern has been twofold: timing and roster status. Let's remember that she entered the league directly after finishing her senior season at Iowa, jumping almost immediately from the NCAA tournament to the WNBA draft. That transition was incredibly demanding. For many rookies, the WNBA has allowed some flexibility regarding when they join their teams. But under strict rules, if a player does not report and remain on the active roster by a designated date, her eligibility to participate in the postseason can come into question. Now, Caitlin Clark did report on time and signed her rookie contract, so at first glance she should be fine. But what if she were injured late in the season and placed on a season-ending injury list? Or what if she took a leave of absence for personal reasons? In those cases, she would no longer meet the active roster requirements, and the Fever could not activate her for playoff games. In short, even if she were medically cleared later, she might not be allowed back. Another layer to this story is the potential overlap with international basketball obligations. The WNBA and international leagues sometimes run into conflicts with scheduling, and star players have occasionally faced difficult choices about where to play. Caitlin Clark's rising stardom also means she is expected to be part of Team USA basketball in the near future. If international commitments or conflicts arise, and if she were unavailable for part of the WNBA season, that too could complicate her playoff eligibility. But the main point for Fever fans right now is this: Caitlin Clark is eligible for the playoffs as long as she stays healthy, remains on the active roster, and the Fever clinch a postseason spot. The reason headlines have raised doubt is because of the league's strict rules about roster designations. In short, it's not about Clark's talent or her performance. It's about the technicalities of WNBA eligibility. Let's consider the stakes. The Indiana Fever have been hungry for a return to playoff basketball. Before Caitlin Clark arrived, the team struggled through several losing seasons, missing the postseason for years. Clark's arrival instantly energized the franchise, boosted attendance, and put the Fever back into the national conversation. Fans who fill Gainbridge Fieldhouse each week aren't just coming to see basketball, they're coming to see Caitlin Clark redefine what's possible in the WNBA. If, by some technical rule, Clark were unavailable for playoff games, the blow to the Fever and to the league's marketing momentum would be enormous. Networks like ESPN and ABC have leaned heavily into promoting Clark as the new face of the league. The idea of the playoffs proceeding without her would be almost unthinkable, especially given the massive ratings boost she has already provided. There's also the human side of the story. Caitlin Clark has always been a competitor. From her earliest days playing youth basketball in Iowa, through her college career, and now as a rookie professional, she has shown time and again that she thrives under pressure. The idea of sitting on the sidelines during playoff basketball, when everything is on the line, would be heartbreaking for her. This is the stage she was born to play on, and the Fever's chances of advancing depend heavily on her ability to perform in those big moments. So, where does that leave us today? The bottom line is this. If Caitlin Clark is healthy, active, and available, she will play in the WNBA playoffs. There is no rule explicitly barring her from competing. The confusion comes from the fact that postseason eligibility requires players to be on the active roster by the cutoff and remain there. If any late-season setback forces her off the roster, even briefly, that's when the trouble begins. It's a reminder that in professional sports, rules and regulations can sometimes overshadow common sense. Fans just want to see their favorite players on the court. They want to see Caitlin Clark going head-to-head with the league's best, pulling up from the logo, and pushing her team toward a championship. The WNBA, meanwhile, has to balance fairness, consistency, and roster management across all teams. As we look ahead, the Fever's playoff push will be closely tied to Clark's availability. For now, the signs are positive. She is healthy, locked in, and determined to take Indiana as far as possible. The only real obstacle could be the kind of technical roster moves that fans rarely think about, but that teams and leagues always have to manage carefully. At the end of the day, the WNBA is a league on the rise, and Caitlin Clark is at the center of that growth. Her presence in the playoffs would not only be good for the Fever, but for the league as a whole. Let's hope that when the postseason tips off, she's right where she belongs, on the floor, competing for a championship. That wraps up tonight's deep dive. I'm Ava, and you've been watching WNBA Trending. Stay tuned for more updates as the playoff picture comes into focus. And as always, we'll keep you informed on the latest with Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. Thank you for watching and good night.